Let's start off by being honest, should we? So, I don't know what I titled this. The truth about Let's Go. Is Pokemon going bad? Is Let's Go bad? I don't know, but I got a rant. First of all, I'm just gonna have like some gameplay in the background, because if I edit this video with images and all this crap music in the back, I'm gonna have like 2 weeks of no uploads just to get this out. Besides, it's a rant. You should be just listening to my voice. What's in the background? I don't know, Mario Kart, Bloody Trapland. You don't want to start this. It's gonna distract you. It's just so ugly. Knowing my dumbass, I'm gonna feel bad and put visuals anyway. But I'm gonna rant, alright? See, I've seen a lot of YouTubers making videos recently about why Let's Go is so great, and you gotta buy it. You gotta understand the game is so good that you have to come back to my channel and watch when November 16 hits. It's worth it. I'm kidding. I'm not talking about any YouTubers in particular. I don't even watch YouTube that much. All I know is that T-Series is taking over PewDiePie, right? I don't got much time. And I'll be honest, if you notice, it's kind of like a drought for PokeTubers. What you gonna upload? Yeah, right, Let's Go is coming up. It's kind of their responsibility to make sure their channel doesn't go through a drought by hyping up Let's Go, to set the path that people will want to come and watch the games. So I understand that you want to make the games look good and all. During Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon series, if something new is revealed, you got to make it seem big, even if it's just a minor reveal. I understand. And to be honest, I should probably be doing the same thing too. Alright? Everyone's having a drought. But let's be honest, alright? There's no honesty on YouTube. I'll rant now. Pokemon Let's Go is clearly different than our usual Pokemon game. A lot. Compared to what we're used to in Pokemon. Let me explain Pokemon, what a main series is. Not only to you, but for Pokemon as well. Literally Game Freak, the people who made this, and what makes Pokemon good. From Gen 1, we had the introduction. Turn-based RPG. You go, then I go, then you go. Wild Pokemon for grass. The ability to grind infinitely, so you can get the satisfaction of feeling powerful like you earned your level 50 team. Grinding in the grass is not supposed to be a hassle. It's supposed to make you feel like you're working hard towards something. You just gotta make sure it still feels like that. And in the first game, it did feel good. The satisfaction of being this unbeatable trainer that started off from nothing, picked his own team, worked his team up himself, beat the 8 gym bosses, took over the freaking organization threatening the region, and became the champion. Everything from your rival being the smug idiot who looked so cool, but also looked so annoying that he wanted to kick his ass through a wall. Every element was filled with enjoyment. You just wanted to rush through and explore the region. It was made satisfying with all these roadblocks that you couldn't get through. And as you uncovered the region, you end up visiting the same areas again and getting rid of those roadblocks. It made it feel like you're uncovering the map instead of just going to new areas. There's a lot they did good in Gen 1. I guess that's where the whole Gen 1er thing comes from. It's like 99% people who just got their nostalgia glasses on. But it's also people who remember a certain feel of just having a fun Pokemon game. And if you notice, a lot of those line up with Final Fantasy, which you working hard of building your own party up and feeling like the one responsible for when you do good and start beating up trainers. Makes you feel good when you lose to like your rival and the game progresses, but you can train your team up and kick his ass next time. That's what the core of Pokemon was. You can't deny it. That's what started it all. That's what makes a Pokemon game. Enter Gen 2. And Gen 2 was the perfect sequel to that now ancient 20-year-old game. There was a brand new region, 100 new Pokemon, and you got the same journey again, except with it feeling refreshed and not like an exact copy of the game you played 4 years ago. And this kind of something Pokemon's always done well, even up until now. With each game, they've always made it feel brand new and not like you're playing some sort of rehash of an old game. There's only one game that kind of did that. But then as a bonus, you get the plot twist after the Pokemon League that the region you're in is connected to Johto, and that the Pokemon League is the same Pokemon League. You get to see all the familiar faces in the league, Lance is the champion, and then you get to visit the old world that you explored a few years ago in the post-game. All thanks to Pico Bless or Manny Wada. Thanks for that extra programming, my dude. Probably saved Pokemon from taking a different path into the dirt, who knows. And then Gen 3 came out. And Gen 3 was almost a reboot for Pokemon. I guess 4 years passed, so Game Freak wasn't sure Pokemon would still be liked, so they put literally all their work into it, and kept true though to their original formula. And again, we got an incredible game. Maybe even the best game out of the first 3 generations. I mean, it probably is. Excluding the graphics. I'll talk about the satisfaction, the enjoyability when you play the game. And that's kind of what this video is about, that enjoyment. Not only were there gyms and every satisfying element I mentioned before, like grinding your Pokemon and being interested in figuring out what's in the region, but they also knew what they're doing and built onto that core. They added abilities, and that made it an even bigger variety for you to make whatever team you wanted. And that excitement after you catch a Pokemon. Maybe you catch a few to get the right ability. Yeah, abilities. And they added some Craigslist smarties in their story writing cubicle, made the game probably one of the best yet. Not only just about a legendary like in Gen 2, but entirely about a legendary. It was so different for the story, about an evil team leader that wanted to awaken and rule as the overlord with the legendary's help. It was a new story. Yeah, I know Archie wanted a big pole and Maxie wanted a football field, but they wanted to rule too. The majority of you all probably got into Pokemon around this time, and everything was just done so well. It still captured exactly what made Pokemon good and satisfying, and they even did improvements on top of that in the right direction, with secret bases, the 2 bikes to get to different areas, and holy God forbid we speak about the Reggies. That crap hits every satisfying spot in my heart. Just thinking about Game Freak doing secret puzzles and things you can unlock that are hard to get to sounds like a dream in today's Pokemon. And let's be honest, no one had the internet or a guidebook back then anyway. Well, I'll admit I did. So I knew what the Reggies looked like. But the guidebook also told me Torchic and Hydro Pump. But when you turn to the back page, they look like Pokemon that just existed in the universe, not actually in the game. So imagine my reaction when my parents drive me to some boring get-together thing, and my friend is there and shows me how to unlock the Reggies. And they're just some mind-blowing, crazy-ass puzzles with these legendary Pokemon standing there. That kind of crap hits the exact same spot that made Pokemon what it was in Gen 1. That satisfying, grinding, enjoyable thing. It was almost like surfing down Cinnabar for the first time, finding some trippy Pokemon. Oh, let's not forget the Laddies, Rayquaza, and the rumor that Jirachi would one day appear in that white rock. Just speak to it once every 4 days. Seriously, having no guidebook is what made Pokemon fun. You had your own journey, not the same journey as everyone else because you looked it up. And there's a guide on how to do it. It's satisfaction, y'all. It's an RPG, role-playing game. Ever played Final Fantasy? I swear one of you said no. It's all about satisfaction, leveling up your characters, sitting there jumping into the grass again and training their techniques, unlocking stronger ones, going to the shop, getting equipment. You feel like you're the dude there. You feel like you made him, you got his equipment, you trained him. You don't feel like the game gave him to you. And so when you go into battle and you beat the boss, you feel good. Or you lose, get your ass kicked, you go back and train, get everything leveled up again, and you feel even better. Okay, enough about that. Gen 4. I hope you guys know what I'm getting at with this. Gen 4. I don't even know what to say. As a kid, I hated on the game while it was on the shelf. I mean, I never had the money to just buy it, and it looked like a weird Pokemon game. Like, it was always on the shelf for like 2 years. I didn't touch it. I'm like, look at that ugly... What is that crap? Pokemon Pearl? This girly version? I'm not buying it. But after playing it, holy crap, is it one of the best. The story, the music, the team you can build. Getting in Team Galactic's way, actually having a challenge. I don't think, I saved in front of Cyrus at Spear Pillar and I had a 1 in 100 chance of beating him. And then I had to catch Palkia. To beat him and catch Palkia in the same run took me like 2 weeks. It's a freaking Crobat. But geez, man, challenges like that are what's fun. When you beat the challenge because you're good, not because the game walked you through it. Like, for some reason, I feel like Pokemon just doesn't understand this. He's like, Ego Raptor? He made a sequelitis for Legend of Zelda, right? And he talked about how in the original Zelda, you just push a chest opens up, gives you your item. And then in the later Zelda games, you open a chest and you get this like 20-second animation of this holy Link as the camera pans around him. What the hell is that about? No one would think to complain about something like that, but it's true. That's called fake suspense. There's different ways to create suspense that makes you feel good about when it's over. Having you wait like that is crap. Same thing here. There's real satisfaction. There's not satisfying, not satisfaction. Freaking crappy satisfaction. Where you're just progressing so you'll feel good. You don't actually feel satisfied. You don't feel good. Gen 4 was like a master of making the world feel so Pokemon-like. With all the legendaries. I mean, they really went into the lore for that game. I know back then we were like, dude, look at all these legendaries they're adding, but it really had a good feel to it. Also, by this time, the internet was out, so we all knew New Moon Island secretly existed beside that Cresselia Island, but we could never get to it. And then you could also go behind the Pokemon League somehow to a path that if you just knew you could cross, you could meet Shaman. And then there's Arceus. Pokemon, I don't know when they forgot about what made a Pokemon game satisfying, but Gen 4 was probably the greatest game again, topping even Gen 3. And for some of you guys, even now, with Gen 7 out, it still might be the greatest game. But somewhere along the lines, Pokemon kept going forward, and they did good. Not to take away what they did right, but they started to forget about what made Pokemon actually good, satisfying, worth putting 200 hours into your save. Sucker, no one wants to put 200 hours into their Sun and Moon save, in the sense that no one grinded in the grass before they fought Hala. After that, we're not there yet. And I mean 200 hours of enjoyment. Alright, not a cutscene where it takes forever to spam A. That's the fake satisfaction. of opening a chest and having to wait. In the original games, the fact that you could spam A was a part of the game. If you didn't care for the story, you could get through it because you could get to what satisfied you. If you didn't care that, oh, Giovanni's the leader of Team Rocket, which I know half of you didn't care about because you weren't even paying attention to the story, then whatever. You just got to do what you enjoyed. All right, everybody put an F in the comments right now for the rip of Pokemon events like they did in Gen 4. We never got them back. Ever again. Oh my god, and then they remade Gen 2. Okay, we can't get into this beauty, this gorgeousness. Pokemon following you. 2D ugly sprites, just like we liked them. And holy crap, when a legendary followed you was huge. Yeah, 200 hours into a save? Gen 4 probably had one of the greatest Pokemon games to date that stuck to the formula. And before you say, no, Gen X was the best, hold up, fam. Okay, Heart Gold and Soul Silver was a remake, so let's not dive in. But mind me when I say Gen 4 is the greatest at this time, with both Diamond and Pearl and Heart Gold and Soul Silver. I swear, that was a time where any Pokemon news made your heart freaking throb. Look at this. I accidentally found this the other day. People went crazy for no reason for Shaman Sky. I mean, who even cares about it? But Pokemon was so much more familiar to us back then. Any bit of news in this familiar world of yours really made you amazed. It's gone somewhere else now. I'm criticizing it on purpose. I'm hoping you guys can see what I'm talking about. Okay, let's not spill the beans yet. Enter Gen 5. I gotta spend as little time on this as I can. But okay, now Gen 5. It's like the odd gray zone of Pokemon. Ha, gray. Now listen, Gen 5. I remember the hype. Animated sprites. This super 3D look. It was the real revamp of Pokemon. I'm not sure if it was confirmed, but it definitely was a reboot to the series. Listen, I call it the gray zone because it's often overlooked. It was such a different game. And when you think back to it now, because it was such a quick generation of just 2 games with no remakes, it's easy to not really look at it. And it went by pretty quickly. I'm sure most of you guys think back to Gen 5 like, yeah, those weird games. It really is such a weird period to think back to. But man, I got so much to say about Gen 5. Dude, you gotta shut yourself. Okay, maybe I could start with Gen 5. And listen carefully, guys, okay? Gen 5, a part of it, went the furthest away ever out of the 5 gens from what Pokemon originally was. And it was the first one to do so. And a lot of people looked at Gen 5 as shame. Shame. Like Cersei doing the walk of shame down. How dare this trash bag Pokemon be? Shame. Shame. Gets the whip out. How dare this ice cream Pokemon come to exist? Then people start throwing rocks at it. Look at the first starter. Oh, a 3rd firefighting in a row. Wow, great. Shame. Shame. Oh, and now we're forced to use all these brand new Gen 5 Pokemon as if it existed in some new dimension that no other generation is in? Shame, 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 shame. Listen, even I felt the same. And there's a reason I'm telling you this. Don't point that rock at me. Even I looked at the ice cream Pokemon with distaste. Alright, I'm like, what is this? This is disgusting. But bear in mind, that's the same me that was like, heh, the black legendary looks cooler. That Reshiram, it's ugly. I didn't even give reason to hate things. I just put such a strong word on something I didn't want to give a chance. So I liked Zekrom, I freaking hated Reshiram, even though why the hell? Just because I said I did. It's the same me that called Poke ugly. Okay, F that. Here's the problem with Gen 5. I'm gonna break it down with why it went too far from our normal Pokemon game. My dudes, it was too good. Somebody just threw a rock. I'm sorry, what the hell is this story? A Hitler-ass man gives you a speech and the same colored kid is beside you. Talks about hearing Pokemon. Raises a mystery of who he is. You learn about Team Plasma, these effed up people screwing the world, and N gives you the L plot twist and gets you alone with them on a Ferris wheel. And just at the top, as you have no way out, as he licks his lips, he whispers in your ear. Hi, I'm the Lisa. No, the king. I'm the king of Team Plasma. What? And then the story goes on to be philosophical and just too good. My dudes, when Game Freak was working on Gen 5, they did something different. They looked at Pokemon. They looked at their team. Not their team, their freaking workers that loved Pokemon. And they said, we're gonna make this game for the older people. We're gonna make a story to be enjoyed. We're gonna go to the next level. And they made Gen 5 with the original older Pokemon fans in mind. Now this is in fact, this is just my opinion. And I don't mean like Gen 6 when they gave us Kanto starters and a sleeping Snorlax again, no. They made this game to be the greatest game of Pokemon with both a good story, a new world of Pokemon, and as a new generation with animated sprites. It was supposed to be the ultimate revamp. They went freaking all out. Even with these sprites, my dudes, they're not gifts. Like, they're literally limbs. Individual arms, legs. Each Pokemon has these limbs. The game itself puts those limbs together and animates them. Like, these dudes went all out just to give you that cool 3D feel, even though they're using 2D sprites. They really worked their hardest on these games. And it becomes even more obvious that they looked less at what would sell the most and hoped staying true to the old Pokemon fans would keep it popular when they made Black 2 and White 2. What the hell is this? Now, for an older Pokemon fan, or someone who's a fan of Black and White and loved the story to death with N and all, there's so much to uncover in that story. Just hidden meanings everywhere. This is a dream come true. Look, do you not see this? Look at any playthrough on YouTube. Episode 1, hella views. Episode 2, where everyone go. They named it Black 2 and White 2 for the sake of it being a real sequel, knowing damn well that it would scare people into thinking that they can't play this without playing the first. Which is not true, since they wanted to hit the banger and really show that this is a sequel and make those older Pokemon fans happy. They took that hit, and I don't think they sold well. I mean, I don't even know how Black 2 and White 2 sold. I'm just going on opinion here. Let me see. Oh no, this breaks my heart. Black and White sold 15 million, less than Red and Blue, less than Gold and Silver, less than Ruby and Sapphire, less than Diamond and Pearl, and to go into the future, it sold the worst. And Black 2 and White 2 sold only half. Shit, I didn't even know that. That kills me. Do you see what the problem is? Game Freak worked way too hard into an element that people don't care for in Pokemon, the story. Remember I said y'all spam day through Giovanni and crap? Which it sucks to say, because the story is really good, but too good for a kid's game. And because we're all ace spammers, we don't want to care about the story. The matter is, half of us who played Gen 4 didn't even know Cyrus's goals properly. They just spammed A, lost him, and beat him eventually. He just looked like a crazy dude. But there's a lot more under the surface, even in Gen 4, that Game Freak was starting to think was what made Pokemon. And then they hired 4 times the story writers off that same Craigslist ad to make Black and White this extravagant crap with Zoroark and Zora promotion, which was freaking glorious. These illusion Pokemon that could be anything, tied in with this movie with the shiny Gen 2 legendaries. Man, it was so new and interesting. And remember, this was during the time where Pokemon felt so familiar that even a small little announcement or change was interesting to us. But because they put so much work into it and made it possibly the greatest Pokemon story to this day, instead of things that would attract more sales and Pokemon fans, they made Black and White, which is considered by a lot of people, ironically for the work they put in, is the worst Pokemon games and worst generation. I know there's a lot of Gen 5 fans out there and a lot of people who hate Gen 5. And those are the two sides that you guys are seeing. And I mean, it didn't help that Black and White came out during the time DS emulation was like for everyone to use now. It didn't suck anymore. So literally people beat Black and White during the 7 months that it was only available in Japan. They beat it in Japanese. We all spammed A and looked up walkthroughs of where to go if we got lost. All I remember is spamming A after beating N and then suddenly gets us once a piece of my ass. Like, get away. I'm a kid. All of this, it left a scar on Pokemon. And that scar's still on them. And it made Pokemon realize that they made a mistake. Pokemon isn't supposed to have this grand good story. It doesn't have to have it at all. They should not have focused on long-term Pokemon fans or older Pokemon fans, especially with them working so hard to make it part 1 and part 2 to the story, where N returns and Kyurem has a fusion. Oh my god, it was so much work in the story that it actually makes me feel really bad. It can't be enjoyed in a Pokemon game. I mean, if you wanted to, you could enjoy the story, but the way people play Pokemon, most people didn't enjoy the story because they just didn't pay attention to it. And Game Freak realized that they gotta aim at the new Pokemon fans. Enter Gen 6. Okay, I'll make it brief. How did I last this long on 5 gens? Notice how Gen 5 was such a short period? It's almost like Game Freak felt so bad about their sales that they just wanted to restart it all. And even though Black and White was already a total reboot for Pokemon, they decided to do it again. And come January 8th, 2013, geez, why do I remember this day like it was freaking yesterday? They announced Pokemon X and Y and gave us that trailer. I remember that trailer, all of y'all do. It was such a weird feeling. They made Pokemon worldwide, they made such a big deal of it. There was those 2 legendaries in these starters. There's something about that trailer that was just so mysterious. But they rebooted Pokemon again, made 3D models, and tried to figure out what it was that made Pokemon games Pokemon. Oddly, they went back to elements that made Pokemon what it was before, but almost accidentally. I don't mean the candle starters and such. I mean about just making a satisfying game and making the story very, very simple so that even if you spam day, you would still understand the emotional ending and care when AZ's float comes back versus when N seemingly jumped off the castle window and we just don't know what was going on. But one thing that Pokemon did that made Gen 6 a good, satisfying generation, not the best, but satisfying once again, is Mega Evolution. Pokemon is about being satisfying and beating others up with your Pokemon. Mega Evolution fit the core of what Pokemon was so well that it just worked. It had fans excited, they wanted to see what super forms all these Pokemon had, and let's not forget that it was actually hated for the first few months until fans got used to it. But it became a banger, and they could have done Mega Evolution a lot more better in the games to make it more satisfying, but it became a banger, and X and Y sold well. It was selling so well that it was gonna outdo Diamond and Pearl even, until they cut its hype short by announcing Auraz. See, I don't want to talk too much about it, but changing the Pokemon images, it's a big change. If you change Final Fantasy's simple push A and choose your target to a 3D and slower battle with all these animations, it can still work, but you have to do it correctly, and it can really mess up. And I mean, that's a whole nother topic. For the most part, Pokemon did the transition to 3D well. Sure, making the models freaking unsaturated compared to before was something I didn't really like, but they did pretty well. But they did slowly start to let go of things overall during their reboot to 3D. Auraz was good, of course, because holy crap did they have the original Gen 3 to work with, and the Delta episode is one of the greatest things they've written in this past while. But anyone notice where the hell are all the Pokemon elements we love? We can't name them because it was all these smaller things that made Pokemon satisfying, but you never knew why because they were so small. Let me start with this. You see, X and Y was cut short to sell another game the next year, instead of the 2-year gap that Pokemon had already originally gotten us used to. I mean, if you didn't know, there were 2 years between even Black and White and Black 2 and White 2. They always had that gap so they could work on the next games and give more value to the previous game. But I guess sometime they realized that they could make more sales if they just put out another game during that gap instead of leaving it an empty year. But F that, that's another topic. Auraz was meant, clearly, to stall another year. They needed more time for Sun and Moon, so Auraz was meant to stall another year anyway, so they added this big post-game by letting you catch all the legendaries. Can someone tell me where the legendaries are? Tell me why it's more exciting to catch a Reggie than to capture all of these legendaries combined. Does Pokemon seriously think that we just want to catch Pokemon? This is where it started. This is where Pokemon started to let go of things that really mattered. Small things in Pokemon. And enter Gen 7. Okay, let's try to stay on point. This is not a good rant. Okay, let's try to stay on the same point. When you beat Gen 7, there's no post-game. And in Ultra Sun and Moon, they threw in this crap again with the legendaries. Oh no, but instead we get to fly there ourselves. Sucker, what? How is that satisfying? Do you realize there's nothing exciting about flying to a Pokemon and not even getting to interact with it, right? Freaking the Lake of Rage Gyarados was more exciting than this, just because it was a standing Pokemon. You think it's nothing? That's the problem. It's such an important part of it. That's what makes it satisfying. You save in front of the legendary, you catch it. It's so cool to see it in the overworld. When freaking Red and Blue comes out, you're in the freaking power plant. You make it to the end and there's something in the overworld. What the hell is that? There's a bird. I don't know what that is. I'm gonna talk to it. Zapdos has appeared. Holy crap, this is so cool. It's like they decided, oh, we don't need the Pokemon to be in the overworld. They just want to catch Pokemon. Let's make it so we just copy and paste the formula, and so we can have all the legendary Pokemon in one day's work. I don't even think they're trying to make the process easier for themselves. I think they legitimately think that we just want to catch Pokemon. Okay, F this. I could go on forever about it, seriously. I can't have this video be that long. Jeez, I got some rude opinions. I don't know if y'all want to hear them all. Okay, Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. When did Pokemon think it was right to start holding my hand? Get the hell away from me. Why does Pokemon think it's satisfying to beat all the trainers when they level up the Pokemon for us? Alright, it wasn't the fact that I grinded myself and earned those levels that it feels satisfying to dominate. No. Alright, it wasn't the fact that I find all these split block paths and as I progress through the story, uncover them and gain the satisfaction of feeling I'm uncovering the region instead of freaking going in a circle to new places constantly to lose the satisfaction of feeling like you're covering a map. Does anyone get what I'm saying? Listen, you're going straight, you see a path to your right, it's blocked off. An hour into the game, you unlock that path. Maybe you're coming from the other side, but you're physically seeing the map getting uncovered and it feels satisfying. It feels like you're making progress. So they're making us go on this endless journey to different cities, never to return back, which you don't even notice the problem in that. But for some reason, it just feels less satisfying. And they kept doing it for so many times. I'll admit, it was a little better in Sun and Moon. It was more like uncovering the map. You did go back to previous places, but it was so barren of interesting things that made you want to explore. Like, you see all those extra places, especially on the 4th island, but you just don't care. You don't want to explore them because there's nothing there. Oh, and then they got rid of gyms, thinking it would be funner to stay true to the theme of doing a tradition, since it's on an island. An island game, let's have tradition. They're gonna love this. Cool. But why do you think getting rid of 8 boss battles in the game that are core to Pokemon and replacing them with the weak-ass totem, which literally is 1 Pokemon, will suffice? Each time you beat a gym, you feel satisfied. There's only 8, so you feel like you beat 10% of the game each time you get past one. You feel like you're making some serious progress. You look at your badges, you got 5 of them, you feel like you're getting there. Do you think it feels satisfying to fight the almighty kahuna of the region, the grand priest of each island, only for him to use a level 13 Mankey and get swept? Kahuna is the grand priest. He's the 4 big priests of each island. My man has a Mankey. What? Do you think it's cool to have a rival that wants to be my friend? I'm trying to be quick since I think I've gone too far with this video, but Gen 7 really started to hold your hand and do these things that made it just less satisfying to do anything. Remember, satisfying, alright? There's a difference between graphics and beautiful sounds and all these things that later generations have. Satisfaction. If you add them all up, Gen 4 could be one of the most satisfying games, even though we're nearing Gen 8 right now. Satisfaction is the biggest thing that makes a game good. There's so many weird games out there. Civilization, Harvest Moon. If you've never played them before, you're like, what the hell is this? I'm not growing plants. But when you play them, you're satisfied. You don't need super graphics. You don't need realistic freaking shovels to dig out dirt and crap. It just needs to have that click that's so satisfying. Like, you could take it down to the basics. Cookie clicker. F that. Oh, and then they force all the cutscenes. Oh my god. You know, which isn't so bad. This goes back to the fake interest part where they just stall out using time. Important cutscenes. When in Pokemon games, we just spam A through. Instead of, when you make us wait 20 minutes for Lily to talk about her problems, it's like, I'm only feeling better that I'm getting through the cutscene. I don't feel satisfied I'm making progress. But seriously, the cutscenes aren't even all that bad, alright? Because that's probably something to expand on. Especially with Gen 8 coming. Like, if you remade Gen 4, they would probably convert some of the places you could spam A into cutscenes. It just feels like something they do. But then they give you a flag. So like, hey, if you weren't paying attention, just go here. I know you just spent 20 minutes spamming it through this cutscene, but you don't have to pay attention. In fact, why not just not pay attention and keep going to the flag until you suddenly beat the game? It's not like you need to stop and train for a moment because you're always higher level than anything. You're just gonna keep going to the flag and suddenly you're at the credits. How are you gonna force us to watch those cutscenes, which it's not even the right word to use. It's just like forced, spaced out dialogue. That's what people are pissed about. How are you gonna spend 20 minutes on those and then give us a reason to not pay attention to those? Of course we're pissed. We don't need to pay attention to it. You're gonna tell us where to go anyway. And there's a reason they did that. And there's something about Sun and Moon story that's so freaking evident. Any writers out there watching this? One of you tell me. Someone tell me how obvious it is that Sun and Moon story is literally their first draft of writing this. I'm not going in depth. If you want to hear, maybe I'll roast them another day, but man, literally all of you should be able to feel that they put minimum work into Sun and Moon story by the time you get to the end. When you walk up and the captain says, I don't have a trial, gives you a free Z crystal, and then a captainless trial awaits you where a totem just jumps down. Like, what the hell? You run out of ideas? You're just lazy. Because I know you're just lazy. Like, look at this creativity spinning. And they made it more obvious that it was their first draft when Ultra Sun and Moon came out because they fleshed out the story better. I'm not saying Sun and Moon story was bad. I'm saying that the story they gave us was their absolute first draft. They literally made up the captains as they went. I'm not getting into this. Okay, but see, this whole hand-holding thing that started mildly in Gen 6 with the introduction of the XP share because they felt kids wouldn't be able to do the grinding to level themselves up, which wasn't half bad since Diantha literally had almost level 70 Pokemon, all the way till Sun and Moon, where you literally, like, you're always higher level. My friend had a level 70 Incineroar when he beat Kukui that he showed me. And initially I was like, that's pretty cool, he's strong. But then I know he himself knows that the game literally gave it to him. How are you gonna feel satisfied that you had such a strong team and beat Kukui when, like, they gave you him? He didn't have to train himself. Am I pushing A in a cutscene game? Is this just an interactive movie? Am I just pushing A? Or am I actually playing a game, exploring the world, and training my own Pokemon? And finally, this is where we get to today. Pokemon has that scar still lashed out on its chest after the work they put in Gen 5. That Pokemon is directed at kids. It sells better when it's directed at kids. Kids are apparently idiots that won't listen to the story, and as long as the game is colorful and vibrant, that's enough. This idea is what Pokemon has been dealing with for the past few years, and it brings us to 2018, where literally in a few days, Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Pokemon Let's Go Eevee is gonna come out. And it's clearly gonna be the easiest game yet. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. First of all, you don't get to do your grinding to level up your team, which means you ain't even gonna get the satisfaction of feeling like your Pokemon are high leveled because of you. In fact, you see how you level up when you catch Pokemon? I bet you, if you don't catch a single Pokemon, except whatever's required, you could run through the entire game and still be over leveled for the champion battle as long as you just fight all the trainers. The hell is that? What satisfaction am I getting to my Pokemon when catching Pokemon levels them up? Did you not realize it was a thing that my Pokemon beats another Pokemon and my Pokemon is stronger because of that? Not my Pokemon helped me catch Pokemon and he's gained the wisdom, the experience to do stronger punches. Now, this video has honestly just been a roast on Pokemon, but at least I cover the title, which is something along the lines of, is Pokemon becoming bad? Or is Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee bad? I don't know what the title is right now. I didn't come up with the clickbait title and then make the video. And the answer to that is, shit, I don't know. Here's the thing, alright? Pokemon is directed at kids. It has to be directed at kids. They get more sales when directed at kids. If they kept doing what they started with Black and White, they would literally die out and Yokai would take over while they direct at kids. And so, Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee is directed at kids. Both at kids and simple gamers. Gamers that don't know about Pokemon. The millions of Go fans that want to get into Pokemon, but are intimidated by the 2,000 abilities and 1,000 Pokemons and 1,000 items. And trust me, man, we don't feel it because we can remember every Pokemon better than the periodic table, which is stupid. But that's hella intimidating. That's the same thing that makes you not want to like start a show just because there's 800 episodes out. It's hella intimidating to have that many Pokemon out there, to have it that wide when you're just trying to get into it. The fact that Let's Go, I haven't even checked this. I'm honest. Let me check how much Pokemon Go made in September. Well, October's over. Let's see how much Pokemon Go made in October. Not research rewards, my dude. Oh, whoa. Pokemon Go. Is this legit? Pokemon Go made through in-app purchases only. For those extra Pokeballs and raspberries. Pokemon Go made $73 million. Compared to last year's October, where they made $43 million. In total, Niantic has made over $2 billion. Look how much money is going into Pokemon Go. I bet you at least half of the people that play Pokemon Go haven't played an actual Pokemon game. And they're not gonna start. I mean, look at all these Pokemon titles. Like, where do you even know where to start? Like, you just pick up Sun and Moon and play it? It's intimidating. The fact that Let's Go only has less than 200 Pokemon is actually a selling point. The fact that it's simplified, no abilities, no items, a different way to catch, it's all a selling point. The fact that it's so easy is a selling point. And if you ask me, if I had a kid and he was like 5 years old right now, and I had to go to the store and get him a game to play, I would not get him Black and White for sure. That game was hard. I would not get him Diamond and Pearl, not Ruby and Sapphire. I would get him Sun and Moon because I need the game to hold his hand. I need it to be easy. Let me be honest with you guys. As a kid, I had blue, okay? I got it when my brother got silver, so I got his blue. I put at least 20 hours into that game. Sucker. I got stuck at the old man sleeping. Holy crap, this man has made me so angry. I didn't know how to get past him. I put at least 20 hours into that game. Sucker, I'm a kid. I spammed A. I even got Oak's parcel from the Pokemart because I tried every freaking thing to get the old man to go away. I could not do it. I'm stupid, okay? And I'm playing on the Game Boy, so my battery dying. I don't get the chance to play every day. I get like 1 hour a day. I've been playing 1 hour a day for weeks trying to get past that man. I didn't, okay? And quite frankly, I was from a family that wasn't doing so well. All right, we go to the game store once in a year. Guess what day? That's right, your birthday. Only if you got a good report card. If I wasn't from a family that wasn't doing so well, and we made trips to the store multiple times, and we had money, I would have probably returned that game and got another game. And probably never have touched Pokemon again, thinking it's too hard, until I probably give it another try during their later releases. Like maybe 8 years later when Diamond and Pearl hit the shelves. Maybe now that I'm older, I could give Pokemon a try. And in a world where, not that families are necessarily doing better, but families are more likely to get their ass back to the store and return the game if their kid is stuck on it for months and says he doesn't want it anymore to get something else. Pokemon has to make sure that they don't let the kid get trapped in a corner like that. That's why Sun and Moon has event flags. That's why it walked you through, so you never had to grind for hours yourself. And that's why Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee is the way it is. What they're doing is not wrong. They're doing the right thing to get the max amount of sales. If I did have a kid, I would instantly, before buying Sun and Moon, get this game for him. Throwing the Pokemon, walking around in cute graphics, the Pokemon following you, and the Pokeball Plus. It's everything a kid would want and would enjoy. That's the truth. That's why these games are the ones about to go on the shelves in a few days. Yes, Pokemon has stepped away from their tradition, but for better reasons. And it sucks, but for better reasons. But we all got hope, because Pokemon said Gen 8 is coming, and they could. If they learn from the criticism they got the right way, then after Gen 4 was arguably one of the best gens that stayed close to the series, Gen 8 could be the next one. It might even have a story as good as Gen 5. Who knows? But I do have hope that Pokemon will go back to how they were. Alright, end rant. Put it on screen. /end rant. That's my rant. That's my opinion on Pokemon. No BS there, right? I'm being honest. I started touching a bunch of things. There's so many things I could go on a tangent ranting about. And seriously too. Like with the upgraded 3D. And what factually is actually the best Pokemon game that they've made out of the almost 8 generations. That's why I try to be vague, because I don't want this to be a 50-minute rant. How long is it? But to answer your question, well, I already told you. You tell me what the answer to the title is. Alright, it's somewhere in there. Is Pokemon gone bad? Who knows? But let's not ignore the elephant in the room, kid. If you can only buy one game, there's Mario Party, Smash is coming out, and there's a Pokemon game. They're all viable options. But if you can only buy one, and you don't like Let's Go, then don't buy Let's Go. It's not a bad game, but don't buy it if you don't think the money's worth is in there. Disclaimer, you need friends for both those other games. Maybe that's why you're gonna buy Pokemon.